Welcome, everybody, to Tank Tap, the podcast about beer and video games. I'm one of your hosts, Ben. It's episode 276, and I'm here with the returning Lucy.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Back once again with some kind of renegade master. I don't know, I can't remember.
I got subbed in for who's off in Canada land.
He's gone, never to return, maybe.
Well, hopefully not. Just between me and you, I can
Depends. Exactly, depends if they let him back in, I suppose. They will. They probably will.
Like, you're too pure with your Canadian blood. That's dirty Brits. Don't deserve your kind.
Oh, that's fair. It's fair. Good. So, but we're here to drink some beers, chat about some video games. Lucy, you've probably got maybe a game or two to chat about, having had a week away. So we'll jump straight into those after I've cracked open a bit.
I'll be getting a beer later.
Yes, you're going to start a little bit later.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that makes sense then for me to drink a beer you've already had. The week I was away, you and Adel drank the Bristol Craft Beer Festival 2021 Riper and True beer. Also with a spice blend from Arrow Eats and inspiration from Wriggle. And you guys chatted quite a lot about this beer and gave all the flavour text and stuff. Obviously kindly provided to us from We Are Beer and Riper and True. I have already had a can. I had one pretty much as soon as I got back off of my holiday and grabbed the beers, which were at a neighbour's. Had listened to what you guys had said about it and thought very similar things. So it's been a couple of weeks now, so I thought I would try it, have this one. And see if after a couple of weeks my thoughts echo as they did when I drank it, yours and Adel's as well. Did you drink both cans quite sort of quickly, one after the other?
Yeah, after the podcast, I think it was it might have been 2 days after the second one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fascinating beer.
So yeah, it's a Aromatic Isles Pale Ale, 4%. As I'm sure viewers will have already seen. It's quite clear, isn't it? Very, very sort of not quite translucent, but it's got a slight haze to it. Super fizzy. Still loads of head to it as well. But as I thought, and as you guys kind of chatted about on the episode, it's got such a good nose to it. It's so lovely. It's sweet. It's spiced. I think when you were chatting, there was something that was just eluding you both a little bit, and I can't remember what you'd kind of, whether it was one of the spices or something that couldn't quite get.
I think I landed on like bergamot, a bit of that with the citrusy. At least something from like the genus citrus, but yeah, the spice was maybe a little bit of ginger. I did taste the cardamom as well, but yeah.
What does it say?
It just tasted like some North African spice that I can't put my pin on.
It's a Somali spice blend mixed by local chef and scholar Fazai Ismail of Arrow Eats. Tropical fruit, hot flavours, invigorated with vibrant spicing from cardamom. Yeah, so absolutely get a little bit of ginger in there. Doesn't quite give it a heat, but it sort of feels like it wants to. It's just on the cusp of having a little bit of a heated spice to it, which is really nice. It kind of keeps it being a pale ale, being a little bit more sort of sessionable, as I think they wanted to do with a festival kind of beer. So it definitely sits and has that feel, mouthfeel, flavour of a lighter 4% beer, but packs that kind of tasty, spicy punch to it as well.
Yeah. Just wondering, was there any like hints of cinnamon in it? I can't remember. I kind of remember the taste, but I can't really. I'd probably have to taste it again to start picking out those or flavors. But
It almost feels like if someone hadn't said this was a pale, I would almost have kind of, if someone had just handed me this, I'd have thought it was a sort of a saison, but they'd just mixed up sort of the yeast that they used, or whatever was kind of, all of those leftover ingredients that they just chuck in, sort of like a farmhouse kind of beer. It does have that little bit of, with that spice mix, just that something just elevating it just a little bit that you do get with saisons. So it's so clean as well.
Yeah.
There's nothing muddy in this at all. You get that spice mist. You get a lot of that citrus in there as well. What are the hops? Citra, HBC 692, and Sabro as well.
Yeah, I agree. Something like a saison or even like a wit beer. Sort of.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sits very well in that sort of light section of beers.
Yeah, it's definitely got that crisp edge to it. That would align well with a saison.
Completely. And had we have been at the Bristol Craft Beer Festival when it had gone on, I could see this being a perfect first beer to set you up. It's not too strong that it will impact sort of everything else that's then to come for the day. Hey, Fragilities, thank you very much for the follow.
Thank you.
So it feels lovely. It's just a lovely little beer. Which when I drank the first one, went back incredibly quickly. This one is going back very, very fast as well. For those of you who haven't seen it, that's the front, and I love that you and Ad all kind of like, yeah, it's great. The front, it looks like it's just come off the can line, and then there's all of that like flavour text on the back as well. Perfect, good. I'm going to enjoy this. Lucy, when you want to crack a beer, just let me know, and we'll jump into that. But I will come to you first to kick us off for the episode, just to give us a rundown of whatever you've been playing, whatever you want to chat about this week.
I only want to talk about Hollow Knight.
Fine, we can just sit here for 2 hours and chat about it. That's fine.
No, I did replay it, but when did I first play that game? 2018. I don't think we need to harp on that. Even though it's such a fantastic game, I think it's because I always want to play a Metroidvania, so every, let's say, 48 hours I get a hankering to play one. So I was just like, how am I going to relax this week? And it's like, I'm just going to play Hollow Knight. Yeah, just good old comfort food. And the indie direct was from Nintendo was today, and it's like you saw people saying like, oh, Silk Song, the next Hollow Knight game they're going to talk about. It's like, they never will. That game's never coming out. It doesn't exist.
It does seem like one of those mythical titles now.
It's like The Last Guardian or something.
Oh,
it was...
I mean, let's not get into The Last Guardian.
Your favourite game.
Oh, mate. Absurd, ridiculous.
Yeah, Silk Song doesn't exist. I've come to accept that. But Team Verge 2 stealth dropped today, so it's that'll tide me over, I guess. That and Metroid Dread till 2028.
Did Axiom Verge show in the Nindies today, or was it just released? It did.
It was it was quite unceremonious as well, because it's like Nintendo tend to like lean on like the indies that they no get a buzz and people like them. Like I think on their last indie directs they closed out with like announcing Oxenfree 2, so they know what the indie darlings are. So, but yeah, it was just like, here are all the games out today, and it was like 3 other games, and it was just like Axiom Verge in amongst them. It's like, all right, cool, whatever. So yeah. So I was thinking, maybe I should start Hollow Knight on Xbox.
That's a good idea.
It's like, no, I'll play Axiom Verge 2. I'll play a new game instead, because I never replay games. It was weird that I just smashed out Hollow Knight in like a 24-hour period.
And that was probably the whole 24 hours as well, because that is not a short game.
It really didn't take me that long this time. Probably took me about 14
Okay.
hours
Okay.
to uh get through it. I played a little bit more because there's with every Metroidvania there's an ending and there's the true ending,
Hmm.
which is like you gotta do some other stuff. I was like, "Let's see this true ending thing," and some of it was just like, man, this is a waste of my time. Some of this is just uh, hard as balls because I think Hollow Knight's. I mean, I didn't find it challenging the first time I played it, but replaying it, I was like, this game's pretty easy, you know?
Mm.
I don't know if it's because I played Ender Lilies, it was harder than Hollow Knight.
Okay.
But it's still, even that was just like, it's okay, it's challenging, but it's not hard, it's not unfair. But yeah, Hollow Knight's like every one of those bosses, like I think it was only like one or two. I think it was those mantis ones that I know that you got stuck on the
Yeah.
first time round. Um, and like this other mantis guy later on in the game. Those were the only bosses that I died like once to. Like the
Okay.
rest of it was just like first time. I don't know, maybe I've gotten better at games, which is definitely not the case. Yeah, that's enough Hollow Knight.
There's always room for Hollow Knight.
True. I spent like a lot of the weekend also listening to like lore breakdowns
Wow.
that are like an hour and a half long. It's like, oh, this is actually pretty interesting. So.
Oh, you've delved super
Yes,
into it now.
I've become the stereotypical Hollow Knight fan, which just they don't think or breathe or do anything else other than worship Hollow Knight, which is like okay.
You've crossed into that like From Software fandom,
Yeah,
haven't you? Like you're not in the From Software fandom, but you're at the same kind of level,
yes.
just to consume everything possible.
I've got a tattoo of Miyazaki's face on my on my neck or my forehead. You just can't see it underneath the cap. It's there. Um, yeah. Hollow Knight. Back to actual other games I've played the first time around. Oh gosh, what did I play? See, my mind goes blank after about Hollow Knight. 'Cause I'm just thinking, should I play? Unavowed, which I played on Switch. This is a point-and-click adventure game by Watch It Eye Games,
Mm.
who been around for a long time, publishing and developing sort of like more adult versions of point-and-click games. They made Strangeland, or at least published it
Hmm.
earlier on this year, which is talked about it a few episodes back. You won't have to look too far back to find that episode, but yeah, probably one of my favorite games this so far this year. But
Oh.
this is a older game from their catalog.
Okay.
This I think it came out in maybe 2019 originally or 2018. Um, this is it's sort of like this noir tech, not tech, just like dark fantasy kind of thing where it's like it's set in real life New York, but it's basically like something like I don't know Buffy, where there's just bad things going on with like demons and hellspawn and stuff like that, and it basically following around this group called the Unavowed, who are like demon slayers who live in their like little coven, and it's like we have to save the world and stuff like that. It's like nobody knows about us and nobody knows there's demons everywhere, but we have to sort that shit out, even though nobody knows about us. But you start the game and it's like you can choose three different character types. You can choose a man or a woman first of all, but you can choose three different character types. You can decide if you are like a bartender or an actor or slash actress or a policeman or woman.
Okay.
And in that sense, you create these like diverging paths. So all the puzzles, depending on which one you choose, will differ. So how you actually like solve it. Like for example, you want to see this burnt down building because you suspect it's related to some demon or something like that they caused this, and it's like okay, there's a policeman at the scene of the crime. It's like how do you then go and see the rubble, see the investigate the crime scene, and I chose a bartender, and with the bartender, it's basically like I know how to talk to people. I know how to, um, understand like what's going on with their life. It's like sit down, talk to me, break things down. So that was my way of going to see the crime scene. I'm guessing if you played the actor, maybe you could pretend it's like, oh, I don't know, my kid's back there or something, or I'm a police officer. Or if you are the actual police officer, maybe you're like, just do me a favor, we're both, I'm a cop. It's like,
Mm.
I can go back and see that or something like that. And also with the diverging paths, it's like you have different members of the Unavowed, and you're basically recruiting as you go further on in the game. And then on each mission, you can take, because it's pretty much broken down in between different missions. You go back to like your little clubhouse, and then it's like, okay, we got to go do this mission. We got to go do that mission. You can pick different members of the Unavowed, and
Mm.
depending on which characters you pick, it changes the options of like, okay, this character has this ability, and I need this character to solve the puzzle this way. Or alternatively, I'm going to have to find another way, which may be more long-winded or harder. It may be easier to, you know, solve the puzzle that way. And it's like not a lot of point-and-click adventure games actually do that. They seldom have like diverging paths. Yeah, they'll have like different dialogue options, but they never have different ways of solving the puzzle. So it's quite interesting in that way. I mean, I guess it offers some replayability in that sense. I don't really want to replay it because I really enjoyed like the story and which story I got and the decisions that I made.
Mm.
Because usually at the end of each mission, there is like, okay, it's sort of like a Telltale game. It's like, okay, which person do you kill? Which person do you sacrifice? Which, what ongoing consequences is this going to have? And those do play out like kind of like later in the game and different
Nice.
dialogue options and stuff like that. So it's really really interesting. It's more of a um, dialogue driven game more than like puzzles. Like the puzzles are very simple, very rudimentary. It's like I I never needed a hint or anything like that. Sometimes you can ask like different characters, like, okay, what do I do? That's sort of like your very, light, bare bones hint system. But I never felt the need to do that because they are pretty straightforward. And it's like there's only so many set things you can interact with, and it's like, well, one of these are gonna have to do the thing to make me progress through the game. But so it was more about the writing and the characters, and it's like I really gelled with like the characters that they had and the stories behind them, and just their every now and then when you were walking around these places, two characters would just speak to each other, and it's just getting more insight into their backgrounds, their lives, and before the Unavowed and stuff like that. So
Nice.
yeah, it's a nice cup of tea game where it's
Good.
like I just want to relax. I played it on Switch, and it integrated touchscreen controls, which
Mm.
not every game does that. Like you'd think with a point and click game, it's like it would be nice if I could just like swipe across the screen and stuff like that on most games, but not all of them do it. So it was nice to actually see them in this game. So
That's good. I mean,
but,
it
mhm,
sounds like it's got this nice kind of balance of being like a point and click game, but also being more narrative based, and that
mhm,
is the driving force kind of behind it. And
absolutely.
we've sort of, I suppose, seen games kind of not really sit within that space. Really, you're either more of a visual novelty kind of
Mhm,
narrative game, or you're this kind of faux action narrative game, like the Telltale sort
mhm,
of style games where there's QTEs and those kinds of things, or you're just a point and click game and you've got all of the inventory management systems and all of those kinds of things. So this sounds like the perfect game for all three of us,
yeah.
really.
Mhm,
Yourself, me, and Adel, that we want this kind of middle ground. And I know we've talked before about where some games, their strengths are in kind of crossing those boundaries of genres, or bringing in various different mechanics and play styles,
mhm,
and merging them together almost.
yeah,
Hey, Adel's in the
absolutely.
chat. It's called was it Unavowed?
Yes, Unavowed, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and as you say, it probably aligns more with like more of the it is kind of in that Venn diagram, but
Mm.
it is very much I'd probably align it more to like a Telltale game.
Okay.
Just not 3D but in 2D.
Hmm.
Very nice pixel art, but sort of reminded me of like The Wolf Among Us, probably just because it had that kind of like urban dark fantasy vibe to it. So,
Mm.
but yeah, really recommend it. I'm checking out more and more of Watch It Ice back catalogue because I always knew about them, but it's
Mm.
like just never took the plunge and actually bought them. But it's like, yeah, been buying some of their older games on like on Steam and Steam sales and stuff like that, and I'm still working through another one of their games called Primordia, which is more of a tech. Well, it's more set in like an apocalyptic kind of like post-apocalyptic, where it's like, okay, the robots have come, and it's like they have their own society now, and and like they worship like humans as their god. It's
Oh
like, is
wow.
this the
Okay.
higher being and stuff like they've achieved like sentience to the point where it's like, okay, you're doing fine with that. We always knew you could.
Amazing. So, Wadget Eye made Unavowed as well, because
Mhm.
as you said, they only published
Yes.
other titles and stuff. So,
Yeah, that you can pretty much tell when it's like in that catalog. You know, like how we say, like Devolver games always have that
mm,
kind of look and vibe. Wadget Eye games have that kind of through line that you can tell.
nice.
Okay, they made this. So yeah, really enjoyed that one. Moving on, play the game that you might enjoy. Then I
Okay.
think you'd enjoy it. It's called because I know you were looking through Game Pass,
Hmm.
as we all are, probably most of the time.
Yeah,
But
all the time. Yeah.
yeah, it's a game called Omno,
Mm.
which is the perfect Game Pass game for me. And we usually use that as like maybe I guess a slight, as in it's like this is average kind of game, sort of like how Last Stop was for me. But it's more in a sense of that I knew about this game a bit. I didn't really look into it, and I was just like, I don't know if I'm gonna check this out. And then it's on Game Pass, and it's
Mm.
like check it out, and it's like people were speaking very very highly of it, and I was like, I'll check it out. Especially after they said it's 3 hours long. I was just
Oh,
like,
perfect.
bingo. Yeah. And it is about 3 hours long, which is really good. But it's one of those where it's like it doesn't overstay its welcome, and it isn't so like light on content or ideas where it's like, okay, you're just dragging it out, even if it is just 3 hours.
Mm.
It's a perfect length, and if anything, it leaves you wanting more. Um, it's a 3D. I guess it's a platformer. I guess it's not quite like, I don't know. It kind of reminded me of Spyro a bit. I'll get more
Okay.
into why, but sort of like Donkey Kong 64. It's not quite like a mascot platformer game. It's sort of got like Journey vibes where
Mm.
you're going on this like pilgrimage, and you're developing these abilities on your way to help you solve these pretty straightforward, like, to be honest, platforming challenges. You're basically going through these. It's level based. You're basically going through these kind of like open hub worlds, and like within each hub world, I think it's about 10. There's a different set of there's a few sets of puzzles. Basically, you're having to like collect these energy orbs, and once you collect 3 of them, you can do the last puzzle in that area and then move on.
Okay.
But there's always more than that. It's like you can hunt down these like kind of journals, and you can. There's always it's probably about maybe 5 or 6 different orbs that you can get. So so if you're struggling with one of them, you can just do an alternative one.
Mm.
There's
Nice.
usually always enough where it's like, okay, maybe I don't feel like doing this platforming section. I'm having issues with this. Let me go choose another one.
That's very cool.
Yeah. But I 100%ed each level because it's
Mhm.
like they were fun. They like doing these platforming challenges, like figuring out very slight puzzly elements to it. It's like, okay, I have to go up here and press this object and interact with this thing, and then with all these different abilities, chain them together. So you get a dash, you get like a surf mechanic, and you get like this teleportation one, and it all just really, just fits together and flows in a really good way. It feels really good to play it, and like the teleportation mechanic especially, it's like you see something in the distance, and it's like it basically has this little reticle around it. It means that you can try and teleport to that. It's like within a second you were just like, and it's got this really cool effect to it where it's like you're basically like Nightcrawler in X-Men. And it's like, and it just runs so smoothly. It's like no frame rate hitching
Amazing.
or anything, and it's just like you're just there, and it's like this is really impressive. But yeah, it sort of reminds me of Spyro, just like the fact that it's like you're not exactly going into different hub worlds, but it's sort of like an open level. It's like having to platform to these different things. It's some of the orbs are like optional, and yeah, it's really really colorful. It's like you go through all these different biomes, like you go from the swamp area to like icy tundra, and it's just a really really good looking game. It's got like these big polygonal like blocky textures to it, but it still looks really nice. So but yeah, I mean, have a look into it.
Absolutely.
It grasped me immediately, and it's like each level probably takes what 20 minutes, maximum half an hour, and but it just keeps on moving. I probably played about 3 or so in a day and finished it in about 3 days. But yeah, it just always it was a nice pick up and play thing. The controls are simple. The platforming is it's easy, but it's not a breeze. It's like you're still having to think. You're still having to use a bit of dexterity and stuff like that. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was something that just came out of nowhere for me, really.
Yeah. I did see it on Game Pass. I saw a couple of people talking about it in various sort of gaming Facebook groups as well. But from what you said, yeah, I think it might be the next thing I jump on. I always appreciate a game which is short, but doesn't feel like it's filling out time for time's sake, or again, feels like it is kind of so short that it is just a very small experience. It's like, oh, okay, cool, move on to sort of the next thing. Whilst it's short, it's still kind of commanded that headspace with you, and done what it is looking to do very well. So yeah, absolutely. I'm always looking for games that I can take my time with, but are short as well.
Yeah, it's one of those really relaxing kind of games. It's like there's no clock, there's nothing hurrying you on to the next place. You can leisurely look around. There's like different like kind of like weird space animals in it and stuff like that. So it's like a less goofy and more serene journey to the Savage Planet. Which is also very, I see that because that studio got bought by Google.
Yeah.
Got like eaten up, or I don't know if that studio is alive within Google or whatever, but I know that they've spun out. I just saw a headline saying that they've spun out and created a new studio, and they're keeping the rights to that IP.
Yes, something Owl or something like that, perhaps. The studio's being called. I can't remember what it is. Yeah, I saw that as well. But
good.
It seems absolutely good that
the game was alright.
And it's an interesting one, isn't it? That I think we're starting to see a little bit more that even though publishers might own a studio, that the rights for certain kind of IP can sort of change hands, and it's like something like Sunset Overdrive, right? That Insomniac took, or it was theirs. It was kind of just published by Xbox on that console. Xbox didn't have the rights to that title, or at least they do have the rights to that title, but only on Xbox.
Because I think that's why they went to Xbox, because I think they said that they wanted to retain the rights for Sunset Overdrive. So, I mean, I'd love another Sunset Overdrive, but I'm happy with that being just like, just a one-hit wonder. Just have it being its own special little thing. So, and I mean, they're going to be a Spider-Man studio now. They're just going to be churning those out for the rest of the time.
Yeah, well,
Until Ted Price becomes like Dr. Octavius, and he's like, I can't make it anymore. And he just goes insane.
that would be amazing. I mean, I don't want to see them as kind of like the Spider-Man studio. I know they do other stuff. There was a VR game that they brought out, and there's other things as well.
Still making Ratchet, I guess.
But yes, and they've kind of hit the news as well, alongside other companies in terms of their work practices and how they treat employees and stuff as well. So if that's something that listener you want to know about, take a look at that as well before you jump into any studio's games, essentially.
I haven't seen that. I thought it was meant to be a nice place.
Yes, so we'd kind of been led to believe previously, but some stuff's come out in the last kind of week. I think an ex-employee said it wasn't a very nice place for women to work. So yeah. I mean, I like Insomniac, but as with every studio, if you care about the shit, then just don't buy any games. That's it. Wait till they come to whatever subscription service you want to pay to mega corporation number 1 or number 2, out of all of your hard-earned cash that you're massively taxed on anyway. And yes. There's no way in gaming to get out of being in just a capitalist cycle, is there? We've got no choice. You buy the play date, just play 1-bit games forever, but you're still giving a corporation money for giving you a play date. So
just go on itch.io. Hopefully,
again, you've got to have a PC, you've got to have an OS, you got it's all mired. It's all mired.
Just make your own little Raspberry Pi.
Ooh. Everything needs to be open source at this point. That's it. That's the only way to do it.
Yeah. Well. On to, you know what's a wholesome game that I'm sure has no issues? Or at least I hope not. Inbento, which is I spoke about this game. I actually want to thank you, Ben, for having such good archival skills, which is like just probably not even archival, just thinking forward and putting which games we put in the description of the podcast.
Yes, okay.
I went on Google and lo and behold, I talked about this game on Tanked Up episode 178.
Wow, 100 episodes ago almost. 98 episodes ago. No, 102 episodes ago. No, 98 episodes ago. Fucking, I can't do maths right now. 98 episodes ago. There you go.
Good maths, first time. Yeah, which episode title? What can we do to make beer more approachable? Which is a topic we've talked about before. So that's interesting. Yes, that was back in September 2019. Such a wholesome time before, there was a pandemic. When we were just, complaining about God knows whatever game came out in 2019. I don't even remember.
I mean, as Adel said, 7,005 episodes ago in the chat, and it could absolutely be. It could be 7,005 years ago. Who fucking knows when 2019 was?
But yeah, I played that on iOS, and this time round I'm playing it on Xbox. It's very cheap. It's probably about £3. So, and it's a delightful little puzzle game. It's sort of like this little grid-based game. I think it's like 9x9 grid-based game, and you're this cat. It has cats, 10 out of 10. But you're this mother cat putting in the food in a bento box for a little baby cat, and it's just about basically you've got this picture of what the bento box should look like, and you have to match the
Hmm.
match the picture. So it's like, okay, rotating the cubes and just slotting them into the bento box, and then it gets more advanced and more complicated. It gets really hard later on in the
Yes.
game. It's like I struggled with this on iOS. I'm struggling again with it on Xbox. I don't know why I do it to myself, but I do. But and it's basically you have these different modifiers where it's like, okay, this switches this block with this block. This makes all the little blocks rotate around by 90 degrees, and it's a whole thing, and it's like it's got a very sweet look to it, but that just belies the devilish nature of some of those puzzles,
Yep.
because I've been stuck on some of them for I just stare at it for like half an hour and just like, what is this?
I
But it's like
know.
I'm not looking at a walkthrough. I'm being like a deal, and it's like I'm just not looking at a walkthrough, and it's like, why do I do this to myself? And then I don't end up finishing it.
Completely.
But, yeah.
Inbento lies unfinished on my phone as
Yeah.
well. I just couldn't get through some of those later levels. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the eighth set of puzzles. I won't call it a world, but yeah, it's just like, oh my god, how, why? I just can't see it. So I would bet that it's like if I loaded up the iOS version, it's the same goddamn puzzles that are on this time. And it's just like my brain's broken and I just can't do it. So
I mean, the same for pretty much everyone, isn't it?
yeah, so yeah, that's Inbento. I've been replaying that. I just love how wholesome and sweet looking that game is, and it's a really good puzzle game. So even though some of the puzzles get a bit tricky, don't let that put you off. It kind of reminds me. You remember that cat game? What's that cat game? Puzzle game?
Oh,
Was it
the
called?
with the different
One
shaped
you
cats.
rotate. Yeah, kind of reminds me of
Oh,
that.
ooh, don't know. I had that
That
on
was a good game.
Steam, I
Mm.
think.
I'm just gonna
Roll
type
through
cats.
my.
Cats organized neatly.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it sort of reminds me of that. Just like perfect cup of tea, very wholesome, very nice. But some of those puzzles are devilish.
Mm.
So yeah, that's Inbento.
Nice, good. Did you start No Way Home?
No, I wanted to. I just haven't got around to it because I haven't been using my computer lately.
Mm.
But that is on my list. I'm going to be playing that because I think it's only about 2 hours long. And people say, I mean, it's been getting good reviews so
Yes.
far. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I've tried to stay in the blind, so I'm just like, oh, see what they're saying, but I'm gonna avoid it. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to
Did you
that
play
because
the
that's my
demo
game.
for it that came out probably about a month ago or so now?
Um, I didn't play the most recent demo. I feel like I've played a demo for that like years ago.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it was that. It might have been, but no, I didn't play the most recent demo. Have you played it? Or...
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And I don't think it's not like a direct demo of exactly
Mm.
kind of the game. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure it was either like a prologue or something like that to the
Yeah.
actual game. So it'd be interesting to see from what you said when you played it and you chat about it. It'd be interesting to see where that demo kind of fits. I don't know if it's still
Mm.
available for people to kind of play, but it'd be cool to see if there's this kind of and great if games can kind of learn from this and do this. It's like
Mhm.
here is a little. This is like the vertical slice of the game,
Mhm.
and actually it isn't in the game. It's not a part of the game that we've hashed out early and done. This is just something separate and standalone, little 15-20 minute experience, maybe a little bit longer for like a AAA game or something like that, but something that then leads into this. You don't have to play it before you play the main game, but it just gives you that little bit extra,
Yeah.
an understanding of characters and a little bit of motivation sort of to them and stuff before you get into the main game without detracting too much from the opening kind of scenes of the main game and the way that the story will kind of take you through that. So it's just I want to see kind of where it sits
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
with the full game.
It's ringing a bell. I'm pretty sure I played it like ages ago, like a very early demo. I don't know if it's the same as that, but Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did.
Mm.
I'm just trying to have a look. See.
It's gone. It's gone from my
Maybe
Steam
it was on it.
library, but
Yeah,
a load of the
it may have been
demos
on like
that were in,
itch.io or
yeah, a
something.
load of the demos that were in that Steam kind of demos week. One I had uninstalled them, all just disappeared from the library.
Oh, okay.
So
Interesting.
yeah, it wasn't even kind of, hey, here's a record of you having played it. It
Yeah.
sits in your library unplayable. It just went,
Hmm.
which is why I
That's
haven't quite deleted the Sable demo yet. I think it's just too good not to delete. Just in case I want to
Actually, yeah,
experience it
just get
before it
just
comes out.
little hits that
Yeah,
crack now.
yeah.
Yeah, I think there might have been a because I know I've been paying attention to like No Longer Home for a while now.
Mm.
So I may have played the demo, I can't remember. But anyway,
Fair.
yeah, I've got like so many demos installed still. So I want to get around to it. But then the next Steam Fest will roll around and there'll be more demos and so I won't get around
Exactly.
to those. But I played that's kind of like a demo, but not really, but it's a full game. I
Mm.
saw this kicking around in your wish list. The ramp
Oh,
is.
I bought it today.
Oh!
I've played 11 minutes.
That's how much I played of it. And then I accidentally left my computer on. It says that I played it for 13 hours.
Brilliant.
So, I, I played. Yeah, I played about 10 minutes and then I played a little bit more of it. But yeah, it's a weird little. It's a nice little curio. It's a nice little.
Mm.
Um, it's not a demo. It's actually a full game. You can buy it. It's not early access or anything like that. But it's just this kind of isometric little skateboarding. Like, it's a little toy box. It's like,
Yeah,
yes, you
yeah,
are skating,
absolutely.
and yes, you can do basic tricks. You can obviously, uh, you know, rotate, do like a 900 or something like that. But you can also do like you can do grabs and you can do board slides. So
Hmm.
as I say, it's very rudimentary, but it's got a nice feel to it. It's got nice gaining momentum by. I'm playing on Xbox controller,
Hmm.
like just feathering A to gain speed.
Yes.
Um, yeah, it's got like I think is it three different or is it four? Four different.
So
It's four, isn't it?
it just starts you on a simple half pipe
Half pipe.
and runs you
Yeah.
through the tutorial. And once you've done that, it then opens up three different levels for you.
I think it's got like one is like two bowls and
Hmm.
it's one like a swimming pool and
Yep.
there's one that's just like this massive ramp, which
Mm.
is actually quite fun. Um, just it's sort of like got that kind of trials kind of vibe to it. It's
It
just like
does. Yeah.
how many tricks can I do before just like uh smacking my face on the ramp at the end. But
Yeah.
yeah, it feels good. It's very colorful. I love the like the isometric look to it. It's got like this very um like kind of miniaturesque look to it, and
Mm.
yeah, it made me want to play Tony Hawk.
Yeah, I had seen that you had played this a few days back, and I did wonder if it had given you that,
Yeah.
yeah, that taste for something a little bit more sort of feature complete, a little bit more complex. But I agree. I love how simple it kind of is, whilst also having this kind of level of mastery to it almost. Like it's easy to pull off a trick, but actually it's quite hard to time things to get that height
Yeah.
and then be able to do a 1080 and pulling off a grab with it and things like that. So yeah, fun little kind of, like we talk about, like time waster games. It is a little time waster game. You can sit there for 5 minutes and just play around with it a little bit and then
It'd
come
be a
away from
great
it.
screensaver.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. It was made. I think it's made by one person.
Yep.
Steam says
Absolutely.
Hyper Paradise, but the one person who made it is one of the co-founders of, I can't remember. I think they're called Grizzly Games. The people who made Islanders.
Oh yes, yeah, which had self dropped on Switch today.
Yes.
I want to look into. Yeah.
Which if you are interested, there's a review on Out of Lives, which I did last year, maybe even the year before. It's got to be the year before. But yeah, I played that on PC, and that's a great little game as well.
Yeah, I've been waiting for it to come on to like. I was waiting, I think, for the like iOS, but on Switch, perfect. You know.
Waiting for that Steam Deck, mate.
Well, now you said that, actually. Might wait for a Steam sale. Yeah, I might pick it up on Switch. But it's the perfect Switch game, which is every game at this point.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see kind of whether the ramp then turns into anything more, whether we get something which is bigger kind of levels, as kind of like Tony Hawk's did. It obviously comes out as a big product, the original game, with a huge kind of licensed soundtrack and stuff, and then builds and builds and builds, and suddenly you have, park creators and all of this sort of like stuff attached to it. Be interesting if the ramp kind of becomes a similar kind of thing, that suddenly we get, either extra levels added, or you pay like 50p for another kind of space to be able to kind of play in, or something like that. Or then the tools are then provided to you to be able to create your own kinds of spaces and stuff. I can see, even though this feels a little bit like someone kind of branching out a little bit, wanting to try something different and being a little bit more experimental with what they're doing, that this could then lead on to a bigger kind of experience. So it's definitely one where I've played for a little bit, and it's interested me enough to be like, okay, I just want a little break from work. I'll play 5 minutes of that. Cool, done. But I'd come back to it the next day or in a couple of days' time, kind of thing. So,
By the way, the dev, made it sound. It seemed like it might be a one and done. Like, here it is. I've released it off into the world, and that's it. Which I wouldn't mind either. It's like, something like Townscaper, which, we both bought and played a few weeks ago. It's like, I like things where it's like, they're just trying something and it's actually a really good product. It's like, they're not selling it for like, you don't have to remortgage your house just to buy it. It's like a couple of quid or something like that. And it's like, foster that creativity, and like, I don't
absolutely
chuck in someone a few quid for that, but. And the games are fun, so they really look nice. So they make nice wallpapers, if anything. So
yes, I think we're finding we're very much enjoying these beautiful visual, not even like spectacle. It's not this insanely detailed, crazy kind of space. They just use color very well.
Yeah. It's like we're all coming out of like the Xbox 360 era where everything was grey, and then any bit of colour, it's like crack. It's like moth to a flame.
Nice.
I have one more game to talk about.
Okay. Perhaps I will open a beer.
Yeah, you open your beer and you talk about it, and I'm going to go get my beer.
Ooh,
which is probably one I've had before. I don't have any new beers. I need to. I haven't been to the beer shop because I had no car tyre, so.
Oh yes.
I have one now, so. It took me like 2 weeks to actually be asked to go get one. So.
Yeah.
I might take a trip to the beer shop. It's been a while. So.
Do it. I haven't been for a little while either. Before I went away on holidays, it's been a few weeks. Before you go and get your beer, I will say I'm cracking open a beer from Arbor. So I'm sticking around in Bristol, and this is Tulus in Wonderland, an American pale ale, another light beer, 4.8%.
Yeah.
It's got Tulus, which
is very lightweight for you.
It is very lightweight. Yes.
Usually you're in here with your 12s and 13s.
Exactly. I haven't been to the bottle shop, so it's
showing.
Yeah. So yeah, it's got the new American hop Tulus, accompanied by the wonderful. I don't know why they've put it in quotation marks, Idaho 7 and Azaka.
Okay.
So there we go.
Tulus has come up again, so.
I will.
I'll get my beer.
Yeah. Cool.
Crack that open.
I will crack it. I'll vamp for a little.
Why The Last Guardian is the best game.
Oh no! I'm gonna have to talk about The Last Guardian now, aren't I? Let's crack this beer open first, though. Get it poured. For those of you interested in beer, Tulus, it's a new hop. We're seeing a few different breweries put it out here in Bristol, especially. A few people are kind of brewing with it. New Bristol, I've just put out a beer with Tulus in as well, I think, or not with Tulus in, but very heavily featuring Tulus. Oh my god, that's just... It's not quite an ice cream, but it has frothed up beautifully around the glass. I will talk more about that in a moment. The Last Guardian, oh dear. Lucy's opened up a can of worms with The Last Guardian. If you didn't listen to the episode after I had played The Last Guardian, you won't know my frustration. You won't know my anger with The Last Guardian. How angry I am, Lucy, at The Last Guardian.
Bird dog.
Bird dog. Just fuck off, bird dog. Just get in the sea. Just the controls are so shit. Fucking piss poor. Let's not talk about that. Because I will let you come back to, after we've talked about our beers, let you come back to the phone game you're going to play. But I do have a Japan studio game to talk about this evening. So
I don't even know what that is.
We're going from kind of one end to the other with these games.
Bad game from a good game. Yeah.
Yes, but let's talk about these beers. What have you got, Lucy? What have you cracked? It looked like a Deya.
Yeah, it's still from my day. 4 weeks ago. Did I have this one before? I don't think I did. This is called Can We Get a New Aircraft, which is 6.2%. Let's have a look. Can We Get a New Aircraft is based on the recipe for SG5 full on strata, full on juice. Is there anything else on the can? No. So it's got strata in it, and I'm guessing it's an IPA.
Who knows with Deya? Could be anything.
Yeah. Well, it looks like one, so we'll go with that. IPA, pale ale, whatever you want.
Nice.
6.2%. Smells great. Have you tucked into your beer yet?
I've not tucked into it. I was vamping a little bit. It's not quite as translucent as the last beer. It's more hazy, a little more straw in colour. The head frothed up as well, as Adol said. I did pour like him. It's just a big foamy thing, but very light in the nose. A little fruity, but there's this maybe slight pininess to it, but very, very light. Oh, that's nice. It's incredibly light. I know it's only 4.8%, so it is a lighter ABV beer, but in flavour, it is very light. It's got this nice kind of creaminess to it to sort of to start with, and it has this piney kind of nutty flavour. Definitely what I was getting off of the nose, but again, not kind of massive, not that big. It feels like if this was maybe 6.5%, I'd have this lasting piney bitter finish to it, but because it's so light, everything fades quite quickly. And again, that's kind of nice for an American pale ale. It feels like it's got this flavour to it, but actually doesn't hang around too much. It's very dry, incredibly dry. Wants me to go straight back to it because of that. Nice. And it almost, on the nose, it's not quite a... It's almost like a walnut kind of smell to it. When I say kind of piney, and I think that's maybe come through a little bit now. I've had a couple of tastes from it as well, then just coming through a little bit in the nose. But it's almost got this walnut kind of note to it in the nose, not so much in the flavour, which does edge more towards that kind of piney end. But that's kind of it, really. It's this kind of nutty, piney sort of beer without a massive amount else going on.
Interesting.
And I said that the Wiper and True felt like a good light beer and that it didn't affect the palate at all. I don't think that is coming through on this, affecting this very much. I think this is just the beer. It is just a very light, very nutty, piney beer, which
Yeah.
we don't get very much,
No,
which
no.
is interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. I guess some of the Deya beers kind of have that like kind of nutty kind of texture, but I don't know. Maybe walnut is like, because it's not like, it's more of a, it's less harsh, shall I say, like
Yes.
less really nutty, nuts are like, you can't, mistake them for anything but like something like maybe a pecan or a walnut or something like that, a bit less abrasive, like, yeah, probably aligns better with what I'm thinking that beer tastes like.
Absolutely. And in the swig that I just had, there is a light stone fruit in there as well. That kind of leads the flavour. That's almost like the first thing presented to you. It's maybe a bit more kind of peachy, something like that, that then leads you into that nutty, piney sort of finish. So, yeah, it's a lovely flavour, and it's so incredibly easy. I could see myself drinking this all day, really. And I've got a pint can as well, so I can sit here and drink it for at least a little bit.
Yeah, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How's the day?
It smells like a Deya.
Mm.
Just full of citrus and tropical aromas, and it's just smells really good, really, really good.
Looks nice and thick.
Yeah, it's opaque at this point, but may look thick, but it doesn't taste thick.
Okay.
It's actually quite light. It's quite easy, very smooth.
Mm.
I mean, this has just come out of the fridge as well, and it's like it's very, yeah, it's very smooth. It's like hardly any hoppiness to it.
Okay.
Just easy, and it's got like this kind of creamy texture to it as well. It's yeah, I'm surprised at like how hoppy it isn't. It's like there's barely any hoppiness to it. Doesn't feel flat or anything like that though. It feels smooth, and it's very, as I say, that creamy texture to it. It's just goes down really easily. It's like you could just knock this back immediately. But yeah, it's just shocking because it just literally just came out of the fridge, and I just thought, oh, probably have a bit more hoppiness, a bit more, effervescence to it, but it's hardly anything. But that's not a bad thing at all. It's like, it's very light. It sort of has a bit of mustiness to it. It's less fruity in the taste than it is on the aroma, but you are still getting like this kind of, you are getting a sweetness to it. Sort of like melon. Yeah,
Is
it's sort of more of a subdued tropical fruit rather than.
Does it start to then edge into that kind of, like ripe melon? Not quite bitter, but a little bit kind of danker and
yeah, that kind of mustiness, that kind of dankness, definitely there. But yeah, that's good.
Nice.
That's really good.
Deya have definitely been playing with that end, as we talked about in the last sort of few weeks when we've had sort of Deyas. They've definitely been trying to get into that kind of slightly more ripe, even so far as kind of earthy sort of flavours to their beers. So it's nice to hear that they've kind of hit a little bit of that, but they've got a little bit of sweetness to it. Sounds like this is balanced nicely between kind of what we sort of expect from Deya.
For sure. And the lasting taste that I have is just a slight bit of bitterness.
Mm.
It's kind of hard to pick out, but it's definitely there because I am still getting like that, like slightly sweet burn as well. So it's only 6.2%, but yeah, it is really well balanced, and it's definitely one that is good to have as like the first beer, because I think maybe if I had, even if it was the is it Aromatic Isles, even though it doesn't feel like that would linger too much, and it does feel like a bit of a palate cleanser. I
Mm.
think even that, this is subtle enough where it's like I'm glad I haven't had anything before it to mar my like palate or my judgment, because yeah, it does feel a bit subtle, but as I say, it's not. Maybe I couldn't have picked out all those, like the kind of mustiness, kind of dankness, the kind of very slight bitterness at the end if I had something prior to this. But
Mm.
it's
Mm.
really good,
Mm.
really really good.
Very light and very balanced.
Yeah, I mean they're flying off in the clouds, and that's exactly what it's like. It's like little pillowy. It's not quite as pillowy as some other beers, but it's very smooth. It's very easy. This will
Brilliant.
be gone soon. I have another one, the exact same beer in the fridge of mine.
Just
Might
to,
have
yeah,
to get that, I
just
think.
bowl straight through into that one
Yeah.
as well. Yeah, yeah.
We won't even have to edit it. It'll just look like I'm drinking the same beer.
Amazing.
Just mute out me cracking open the other can. Just get rid of
Perfect. Perfect.
that.
Good. We'll drink these and we'll jump back into gaming.
Yeah.
You had another
Well,
game to chat about, I
yeah,
believe.
just one more. It's a weird one, you know. It's called Within the Blade,
Mm-hmm.
and when you look at it, it looks like, oh, this will just be a just side-scrolling, like kind of Ninja Gaiden game. Which, you know, I love Ninja Gaiden.
It should be more games like that. Yeah.
Because, you know, Shinobi, it's pixel art, and it's like it's published, I think, by Ratalaika Games, who are say have a reputation for putting out games that have very easy gamer score. But they do have and very like retro looking games and like, pixel art kind of things. But and some of them are, you know, of questionable quality, and it's like this is just like this is like a Mario clone. It's like one level of it's like playing 1-1 over and over again and then getting 1,000 gamer score. But this isn't this isn't as cynical. This is there's actually been some thought and like some craft gone into this one. Um, but yeah, it's a weird one because it looks like it should just be like a Shinobi or a Ninja Gaiden. It's like, okay, level by level, just going through and slashing people, and you know, you're a ninja. But it's weird in the sense that it's like it has other mechanics in it. It's like it's not just level by level. It's got like this crafting system, and it's got like kind of stealth mechanics, and it's got like you have this kind of like hub world or
Mm.
like this hometown that you go to, and you have to go out and do missions. And yeah, it's sort of got that wrapper of like a just a straight up side scrolling kind of slash 'em up. So it's doing all these different things, and it's like I don't not quite sure where I land with it, because I mean it controls okay, but it seems like there's a progression to it. There's like a skill tree to it. It seems like, okay, I need to, you know, craft more items. I need to, you know, improve my character with these kind of like very light RPG systems. And I don't know if they all mix that well together. I mean, I looked at some of the other reviews and people seem really high on it. So I
Mm.
think that it's something that it's like the more time you put into it, and the more, you know, more you upgrade your character and the more involved you get. It seems like that's when the game sort of like clicks.
Yeah.
But as of now, it seems a bit like it seems a bit like Whiplash. It's like, what kind of game are you trying to be? It seems like maybe they bit off more than they could chew. I'm not sure until, you know, I play more of it. But some of it seems like maybe I would have preferred if this was just a straight up Ninja Gaiden kind of level by level thing, because something like what was that game? The Messenger.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That
It does
game
look like
is
that.
fantastic for about 4 hours. And then the back half of that game, it turns into a Metroidvania for no reason at all. It's got a lot of backtracking,
Was the Messenger the
and it's
one that
just
switched between
8-bit
8
and
and
16-bit.
16? Mm.
Hmm. And that was cool. Like, I replayed like the first half of that game on Xbox, probably it was probably last year, and it was like the start of that game is fantastic. It feels great, and it's like the look of it, the sound of it, and everything like that. But then the back half of that game is ass. So it's just, and I just stopped playing as soon as they're like, okay, go here, here, and here. It's like, oh, I won't do that. So this kind of has that kind of like vibe to it. It's like, I don't know if I, I, I might have just preferred if you just, you know, did the very straightforward thing of making like a Ninja Gaiden-esque game,
Hmm.
but then that is, you know, that may have been like compromising the vision of like what they do and stuff like that. So who am I to say? I think I need to dig into it a bit more and see
Hmm.
where I land on it. You know, because when you're thinking like a 2D side-scrolling stealth game, I mean, my mind goes to like Mark of the Ninja
Yeah.
and how good Mark of the Ninja is. Whereas this is a bit, you have that kind of stealth mechanic, but it's like some of the AI isn't. You know, sometimes they see me, sometimes they don't. So that's a bit frustrating. But yeah, it's something that I need to dig deeper into. I like the look of it. As I say, the control's okay at the minute. So
Hmm.
maybe once I unlock more things, it'll start to gel and click a bit more. So yeah,
Yeah,
one to
nice.
look to in the future.
Interestingly, on
Hmm.
Steam,
Mm.
this game came out in 2019
Hmm.
from Amethyst Studio,
Okay.
developed and published by them on Steam. And it comes up saying within the blade, that
Hmm.
is then the art for this game. But it then comes up saying by Pixel Shinobi, 9 Demons of Mamoru. And that is also the name of the game in the trailer that has just played through on Steam. So I wonder whether they had an issue with just having the word Shinobi in it and it being a game and not being
I,
associated.
I don't know, I'm looking at the Steam page now. Yeah, by Pixel Shinobi 9 Demons.
Mm, yeah,
I
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it looks from the
I
trailer and
had
stuff.
no idea.
I get what you're saying about it. How it kind of feels like it is very simple, but actually there's a lot of depth
Hmm.
there.
Yeah.
And it looks like it would be absolutely nuts to kind of master this. And at least some of the boss battles and things that have appeared in the trailer, and that there's kind of these not stealth kills so much, but perhaps kind of like one shot sort of kills as well, where you know
Yeah.
you get an enemy in a certain position and you can just sort of kind of finish them. But yeah, looks kind of hard. Looks very very hard.
um, I've found it okay, but at the moment, but yeah, I can see it definitely getting to ridiculous levels of difficulty the more it goes on. So
Mm,
we'll see.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It maybe I went into it thinking, oh, it's going to be this game, but it's something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, from the reviews on Steam, it's just like, yeah, people seem very high on it. So
Yeah, absolutely. It's
into it.
yeah, it comes up as very positive. 84%
Hmm.
are positive of the 134 reviews. Lots of people have come up. Addle's not here, but we'll do a very quick review roundup. One of the not recommended, only 1.8 hours. It says sort of like the graphics are lovely. The setting seems quite enjoyable. The problem comes with the controls and the pacing. It's possible that the game works better with a controller instead of a keyboard, which is obviously what this person had played with.
Yeah,
But there
I'm
was
playing on Xbox, so yeah,
Hmm,
it's fine with controllers,
yeah,
I think.
Controls aside, pacing. This game would have worked very well as either a more freeform RPG or as a linear arcade stealth 'em up, as you'd kind of mentioned, Lucy. So, as it stands, it tries to take a middle road where you're left with a linear level progression, but randomized rewards and difficulty, no ability to farm anything in order to progress further. You might not kind of want that from a game anyway, but there is another negative review. 17.3 hours played. Doesn't tell me because it's one of these little side ones. See full review because I wonder when they left the review. Yes, 16.1 hours at time of review. Good stealth, good combat that needs a little work, and alright platforming. It has the single worst first level in stealth game I've ever played. The entire game is based around fast kills, which you can get in the first level, but entirely unreliable. Not just because you don't have the most basic first unlock assassination skill, but also because half of the instant kills that you have don't proc when they should. So it sounds like maybe again a little bit of input lag or something like that, perhaps. On the Steam version.
Well, that's why this game is a bit weird because when the first level I was just hacking and slashing my way through people. It was just like because I thought it was like a Ninja Gaiden-esque game. It was like, oh, I'm actually meant to stealth people. I just killed them instead. just ran up to them and just slashed them in half. Yeah, it's a weird one. It's one of those where it's like, I mean, the people who have put some time into it clearly enjoy it. Like a lot of them saying like this is very deep and involved and stuff like that. So, as that review where it was like it feels like it's caught in between in the middle ground and doesn't quite excel at either of those things, and it should have maybe been one or the other. I'm pretty much in that camp right now, so. I don't know, maybe I'll have to see if I can, if I change my mind, the deeper I get in, unlocks that I do, so. Yeah, strange one.
Nice. Okay, no, fair, good. So that's your kind of like your last 2 weeks or so kind of worth of notable games.
A lot of those games was like the weekend because I was like, I'm not going to look at screens for like a good week, and then I was like, I'm feeling better now. Let me binge because this will help.
Just constantly for two whole days, just play everything that was available. I finished
Hollow Knight.
Yeah, that's fair. Nice.
Yeah, I was I relapsed. Hard.
Good. Maybe then I can mention, as we talked about Japan Studio, I can mention a game I've been playing, and then I can kind of move on to a little bit of a talking point that I kind of wanted to bring up, just to see about your experience with it, Lucy, because it's something that you are deep into. But I mentioned to Adol last week that I was playing Gravity Rush 2.
Is that the Japan Studio game?
Yes.
I didn't know they made it. Interesting.
I'm absolutely loving it. I'd only been playing it a little bit last week, and it has a very odd first hour or so of the game, where it's kind of caught in that, yes, it's a sequel, but we sort of want to give you enough to, if you haven't played the first one, because at the time, I think when Gravity Rush 2 came out, Gravity Rush was still a PSP, or no, Vita, a Vita exclusive, and the remaster came after Gravity Rush 2. So they've tried to make this game kind of, here is a game that you can just pick up straight away now.
No one had a Vita.
Exactly.
We apologize.
Yes. But also, it is a sequel to a game. But once it gets going, it's beautiful. It's a lovely game. The controls are fantastic. I mean, Gravity Rush allows you not to manipulate gravity, but at least to kind of turn it on and off. And so, Kat, the character, can just float, and then you can shoot her off in various directions. So essentially, and the game explains, all she does is she just changes the point of where gravity pulls her towards. So you're just she's constantly like falling, essentially. And the combat feels very fluid. It's really, really good. And I have several thoughts kind of whilst I'm playing this game. One of them was, how do we not have like a Superman game based around this kind of thing? Yes, they've explained it in a way that Kat is falling constantly because she shifts gravity, but essentially she is flying. She's flying wherever she wants, in whatever direction she wants, whenever she wants to. And she then also pulls in all of this kind of combat stuff. And actually the basis for the traversal around this game and the movement around this kind of like 3D space is fantastic, and I don't understand how it hasn't been kind of replicated or pulled into other stuff. We talk about like Spider-Man, the Insomniac, the new Spider-Man, as being this fantastic traversal system, at least for Spider-Man, kind of through a city, very vertical, very fast in what it's doing. But Gravity Rush, it just nails what it wants to do in that kind of aspect. And it just makes me think, that there is something here that could be used to create games that allow that verticality. Everything is so just like, let's just run around the ground, hooray. And verticality comes from you going in buildings and them being tall, and sitting on a roof or something like that. But Gravity Rush really understands movement in a 3D space.
Because I've never... I always knew that Gravity Rush was just about flying and everything.
Yeah.
But I was just like... I know it got rave reviews on Vita, the first one. Because the second one didn't come to Vita, didn't it? It
was a PlayStation 3 game?
Was it? Oh.
Maybe it was just a PlayStation 4 game. I don't know, actually.
But yeah.
Because I played Remaster on PlayStation 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And picked up Gravity Rush 2 very, very cheaply a couple of weeks ago in the PlayStation Summer Sale. So I don't know where else it's available.
But yeah, you're right. It's like this is very unique in its kind of like movement and like a lot of things with games. It's like, especially in like open world games, it's like all about like the traversal and stuff like that. And it seems like, yes, we have to have like, it has to be Spider-Man to make this sense. It's like, no, just have a game where people are flying around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like Saints Row did that. It's sort of like later on, like Get Out of Hell and stuff like that allowed you to kind of traverse in that sort of way and be absolutely ludicrous in what it was allowing you to do. Yeah. But yes, just give us more of this. Give us more absolutely nuts kind of stuff. And I think even like Crackdown allowed you to do that kind of over-exaggerated sort of movement through a space. And I don't think any of these games have been particularly like big hits, and sold particularly well. I don't get that this freedom of movement and what they're trying to do, why that isn't more picked up by people. Why does everyone want to run around shooting people on the ground?
Oh no, yeah, because it's got that kind of, these games have like that kind of like arcadey kind of style to them, like Jet Set Radio.
Yes, yeah.
Like even Sunset Overdrive. It's like, just never see games like that anymore. Everything has to be literally grounded. Where it's like, we have to have sad dads walking around or something like that. It's just like, just make Kratos fly. For God's sake, he's a god.
Oh mate, that would be amazing. He can't fly. He is like Thor, and actually, it's just the axe that propels him through the air or something like that. Just the power of his throwing of the axe that just allows him to just travel across with it. But yeah, suddenly I'm thinking of like crazy over the top games like Crazy Taxi and stuff like that, where the movement is just the next kind of level to the standard. Crazy Taxi was what an amazing arcade game. And I
Really
think I
crazy
like,
actually.
I haven't had that very much from games. That
Mhm.
ridiculous kind of control scheme, which just allows you that freedom to sort of do
Yeah.
stuff. But it also made me think that I really, really like and enjoy and should play more like Japanese-made RPGs. Like Gravity Rush, it kind of has RPG elements to it, but it isn't really an RPG. But
No.
it's very similar in its kind of anime aesthetic and musically to stuff like Ni no Kuni and the Dragon Age games and those sorts of things. And early Final Fantasy games, and obviously completely different in their sort of art style and stuff, but have pulled from those early kind of Final Fantasy or Fantasy Star games and things like this. And actually, how much I enjoy that product, that aesthetic and the music, the combination
Yeah.
of that and the gameplay of those kinds of things. And I just have not played those games for such a long time.
I think it's because you're a father and you don't have unlimited
Oh,
time.
completely. I cannot go on an 80-hour quest
Yeah.
anymore. That doesn't exist for me.
No.
And yes, so this is what I need. I need like a 3-hour version of
JRPG.
something like this. Like that is exactly what I want.
3 hour JRPG.
Who's
That's an
making this?
oxymoron.
No one. No one is making these games. But yeah,
I was looking at that Chris Tales game.
yes.
I was like, this looks beautiful, and like the kind of like shifting of time
Mm.
time mechanic looks interesting. And then someone said it's 30 hours, and I was like, okay, maybe not. I was
That's
thinking it would be like 6.
exactly. That's exactly what not put me off, but why I haven't downloaded that onto Game Pass yet.
Yeah. Even though we don't speak about this god awful company, I need to play Child of Light. It's been on my list for
Have
a
you
while.
not played it?
No,
Oh
no,
wow.
never got around to it because it was like the same time as like Valiant Hearts came
Yes.
around, wasn't it? It was like I went the Valiant Hearts route, and I own Child of Light, but it's never. It's on my list. I need to play it.
Again, that can only be 5 or 6 hours
Yeah,
long.
that's yeah.
That's a good
We need
game.
more children of lights. That's
I
what we
get,
need
but
more.
again, like you get these big studios who want to delve into that smaller space and give you those shorter experiences and things. And you get it. You get your Child of Lights. You get your Valiant Hearts from
South Park,
unnamed companies. I don't know what
yeah,
that
we don't
company was
know.
called. But then you also get your like Sea of Solitudes and stuff, and you get companies like EA trying to delve into that space, but it all seems like a little bit of kind of like lip service, doesn't it? It's like, yeah, we want to kind of do this. Here's one game every 5 years or something like that. Whereas, the people who publish Child of Light also brought out like Grow Home and had loads of these little experimental titles at one point. And Square Enix have jumped into the kind of publisher side of things and are bringing smaller experiences and things to people as well, or into the market at least as well. So it's definitely something that the bigger kind of players are trying to get into, but very,
Yeah.
very just half-assed, really.
Yeah, it's. I think it's always going to be fluctuating. Was it Waypoint? I think it was Waypoint. I was listening to. Yeah, it was. I was listening to today, and one of them were. Someone posited the question. If you could bring back Sega back in its glory days,
Yeah.
which one would you sacrifice, Nintendo, Xbox, or PlayStation?
Oh.
And any day, I would probably say Xbox, but then I
Yep.
paused for a second, and I was like, no, actually, it would be Sony at this point,
Yeah.
and I hate that because it looks like they've gone into the direction where it's like every game now has to be this big AAA,
Yes.
too big to fail kind of thing, and it's like that's just so sad. It's like, obviously Microsoft accrued all that talent because they would have been making Gears and Halo for the rest of time if those still sold
Yep.
like they did before. So yeah, but it's just like, man, I don't want every game to be like this homogenized big open world thing. You know, it's like so many companies, like especially now when they're all like harboring like sex offenders. It's just easy to brush them off, but it's so easy to brush them off because it's like they are bringing. There's such a dearth of creativity in the AAA industry. It's like me being the queen of indies or whatever like that. That was years ago, and it was like that's because I was getting bored of AAA games back then. But now it's just like I just what I play at most one big AAA game a year, and that's usually from Nintendo. And it's
Yeah.
just like there's just so little creativity in that space now, and it's like everything has to be a cyberpunk or I loved Horizon Zero Dawn, but I could
Yes.
happily not have a sequel. I could
Yeah. Yeah.
happily not have
Absolutely.
a sequel to God of War.
Hmm.
Don't need any more Last of Us.
Yeah.
Don't need any more Uncharted. And it's just like it's sad. It's like I
It.
would have said Xbox in a heartbeat any other day, but now thinking about it,
Yeah.
to be honest, I just don't think I could do that to Double Fine.
Do you know?
To be honest. The
Tim
rest can
Schafer.
go.
Tim Schafer's put all his eggs in that basket
Yeah,
now. You're like,
yeah.
oh no, I can't do
I
that to
don't.
him.
Yeah,
Just he's.
I don't think I could. I would
Yeah,
have half
yeah.
of it.
He
Got
lost Greg.
Nintendo.
He lost Greg. Greg Rice went over to PlayStation, didn't he? And
Yeah,
you know he's heartbroken,
yeah,
and you just can't ruin him now.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't disagree. Sony are making a lot of not. I mean, mechanically kind of similar sort of games, or at least production level kind of games. Xbox are looking at least to foster like a broader range of studios and titles, and I think PlayStation kind of want to be there, right? They've picked up Housemarque, but Housemarque, whilst they made smaller experiences, have just made Returnal, which is now a much bigger product. It looks like they've probably brought Bluepoint as well, which are making, they're making remakes and those sorts of things. Massive games. When you mentioned about kind of games that you wouldn't, you don't need a sequel to Horizon, you don't need a sequel to kind of God of War, and only playing kind of like one AAA game a year, there is something that I have recently been thinking about, and that because Out of Lives, Dave Wyatt has been chatting about it in the Duck Hunters Facebook group. I would love another story in the Red Dead world.
Interesting.
I think it is just Western setting,
Everyone
but I think it's not just the Western setting. I think it is the kind of Red Dead takes a departure from Grand Theft Auto. It does have humor to it, but it's not satire, right?
Yeah.
It is a very grounded, gritty kind of game set in the West with overindulgent mechanics and other ridiculous kind of points to it, but a smaller experience. Yeah, I can imagine like a Lost Legacy or a Miles Morales length game set in the Red Dead kind of universe, and whether that's like following Sadie or one of the characters kind of within Dutch's group, or someone completely different in a slightly different area, like a little further north or something a little back east, perhaps something around that kind of thing. I kind of want that, and it is just mostly because we don't have games set in the Wild West, and it's such a good setting for a game, more than anything. But I think if that, conversation about if you wanted Sega, who could you kind of get rid of? And yes, I can understand why they kept it kind of to like the console manufacturers, Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation. But actually, there are tons of bigger publishers
Oh yeah,
who
I'd
I would
sacrifice, like,
instantly.
Square
I mean,
or the others we don't talk about.
exactly.
Absolutely.
I'd get rid of about 5 or 6 just to have
I'd
not
just get
so
rid of
fucking
them.
Sega
I'd
about again.
I'd get rid of them, and I don't even need save. Just get rid of them anyway.
We don't need the Division 3 or Diablo 46 or any of these games. Just give us Crazy Taxi 27. That's fine. That's all right. Just a Crazy Taxi remake. That'd be all right. But to be fair, you can probably play Crazy Taxi on your Xbox somewhere.
You can, yeah.
So-
I've done it recently.
So exactly. So you have to keep Xbox around just for the curation element.
And even that is sad
of
in
games.
itself, because it's like, I much prefer the back catalogue of Sony and Nintendo games. Though.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't need to play Blinks the cat. Let me play Croc Legend of the Gobbos on PlayStation 2. The real game.
Exactly. No one needs Jade Empire. It's all about just ridiculous. I mean, I was going to say medieval, but it's not about that game at all. That game controlled like trash. But
Yeah. Didn't you play the remake?
no, only the demo.
Okay.
And the demo was enough for me not to play the remake.
That's fair. I liked medieval back in the day. It wasn't
Oh,
one
yeah.
of those where I was
Absolutely.
clamoring for medieval to
No.
combat.
What I do, another game I really would like. I don't know who has the rights to this. Would be, and again, it's another game where people are constantly like, oh, they're going to make this game again, they're going to remaster it or whatever. Would be Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver. Another game which I don't know if it's a PlayStation exclusive, but I associate with PlayStation.
Or was it the other one that came to original Xbox? Maybe it was another one.
I mean, it might have been. I think Legacy of
can't
Kain has the Legacy of Kain as a IP has
Legacy,
been kind of thrown about, whereas Soul Reaver, I think, was a PlayStation exclusive, which was a fantastic game. I absolutely love that game. And they did try and make a Legacy of Kain RPG a few years back. There might be a no-clip documentary on it? Maybe?
Not versed in the Legacy of Kain.
But yeah.
Lore.
So I mean, there's talking about bringing things back. There's tons of stuff I would like to see, like another entry in from years and years ago, but with a little bit more modern sensibilities and those sorts of things kind of thrown in as well. But who knows? Who knows what any of these big corporations are thinking about?
They should make a sequel to Hollow Knight.
That would be good.
Why don't we do that? Yeah,
Absolutely.
it would be.
If someone could do that, if that game exists, I think whoever made Hollow Knight is, all of them are just hanging out on a beach, living off that Hollow Knight money.
They're in Adelaide and just like chilling, having a barbecue.
Just hanging out.
It's winter now.
Not worrying about making games at all.
Oh wait, I just want it. Before I was just like, whatever it comes when it comes.
At this point, is it a 2023 game?
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. It's not coming out this year for sure.
No.
So yeah, usually I'm like, take your time, but now I'm just like, no, I'm gonna revert to type as the Hollow Knight stereotype and say, just give it to me now.
What's it been?
You're taking too long.
3 years now.
Crunch.
Get the fucking game made.
Yeah. Don't see your families for a year. It's important that I have this game.
It's still like there's all this chat about it. It's just a whiteboard with a couple of drawings on still at the moment, isn't it? Like that's it.
That just says HK question mark.
Just a picture of Needle next to it. That's it. Just nothing more. Oh, good. Let's finish out then on something I wanted to raise, which is this goddamn fucking quest system on Game Pass Ultimate. So if you don't know, if you are a subscriber to Game Pass Ultimate, you can do a load of quests, which get you Microsoft reward points. Something that Lucy and I have spoken about previously, because reward points give you loads of different things, including more months worth of Game Pass. I think I'm on my 3rd month of Ultimate. I haven't paid for it yet.
We're in a pyramid scheme of just...
I mean, I sit here and I'm like, right, go on to Edge, do some searches, do the things. Right, how much money has that saved me of getting into Game Pass versus how much work could I have done cumulatively over the month of doing this to have just paid for fucking Game Pass?
It takes 5 minutes.
Well,
it takes less than 5 minutes.
Right, you say that, right? But there are quests. There are daily quests, which are essentially just play a game and log in. Are like the daily quests. Weekly quests, which range from play 3 games or get a few achievements in a game to do X within a game, and monthly quests, which are mostly do 8 daily quests or do 10 daily quests and 8 weekly quests to get, your points towards your monthly thing. And like the ultimate one where you get 1,000 reward points, which is do like 45 daily quests and something like 15 weekly quests, something around that. But yeah, but also there's lots of play this game and do this thing quests, right? And I keep bumping up against these quests, like in-game quests. So there was a quest last week, and I think it was a weekly quest because it wasn't available today, because Wednesday is the day that it rotates in and out. Okay. And there was one for Fallout 4. And I thought,
I didn't bother with that one.
Well,
you got to pick your battles.
You do have to pick your battles, absolutely. But the quest said, play Fallout 4. I'm like, cool. I'll install it and play it, and then never have to worry about it again. Because I haven't linked I can't link the pad to my phone, and it won't let me play the game without. No, it won't let me play it without having a pad. Yeah.
I absolutely can. It says no controller detected, and I just press play.
Mine says connect to controller.
Before it lets you.
Before it lets me play. Yep. Before it will let me even get into the game.
Mine comes up with that thing, and it says you do not have the controller attached, and I can still press play. Like the play button's not grayed out or anything.
No, that's if I press play, it pops up with a thing saying connect controller.
Oh really?
Yep.
Oh, mine it just like whatever.
I mean, maybe that's the difference between like Android and Apple, iOS. Perhaps. But
maybe it's because it's in apps versus.
Yes, and it's very much beta on Android as well.
You can do it on your PC.
What, play cloud versions?
Yeah, I'm literally playing Gang Beasts right now.
Oh, fucking right. Well,
just do it on browser.
I'll get into this anyway. I went in through the app. I installed Fallout 4, and I played it, and I played it, and I played it, and I played it. And it's a game I probably put maybe 2 hours into last week, and this goddamn quest did not pop. And it's happened before on other games where it's said do this thing, and I've tried to do said thing, and it has not popped. And I currently saw that Night in the Woods says do 10 jumps.
Oh yeah, I've got the Fallout 4 one. Yeah, I literally just launched it on thingy. I did the Night in the Woods one yesterday.
So it says
I did it on my phone.
Exactly. It says do 10 jumps, and I played it on my PC and I did 10 jumps. It won't register it. Doesn't come up. And I don't know whether this is an Android issue, because I'm opening the app up on my phone. But I don't know whether there's anywhere else for me to be able to log into, whether there is a browser version of this, whether there is an app on my PC different to the Game Pass app that will allow me to do all of these things and register all of these things, because things just aren't popping
break it down.
On there. Go on then. Come on.
You can go to xbox.com/play, and that you can just jump into a game there. And they also I think as of this week, you can do it in your Xbox Game Pass app for PC. You can just launch games straight from there. But just go to xbox.com/play, and you can just press whatever and live life and be merry with all your rewards. It's I don't know if it is something to do with Android. But that's weird because it's like that was the first platform they launched it on, so I would have thought they would have ironed out the kinks then. But yeah, I think back in the day, some of these rewards things were a bit like sometimes they were just. I was facing the issues that you're having now, where it's like, is it gonna pop? Is it not? And it was truly terrible. You were wasting your time.
Absolutely.
But now it's much better. Like now it's just like instantaneous most of the time. So,
okay.
try doing it from the web browser, because that's what I just did. And it's like, yeah, mine popped very easily.
So maybe that is a way around it. It's nuts that has to be the way around it, and there's no way for me to know it bar me raising it as an issue and you saying here is a solution for said issue.
Yeah, I your thingy. So
let's have a look. I know it's a little bit.
It wouldn't surprise me because it's like, you know, I mean, it's still technically in beta, but I'm not going to give them that much benefit of the doubt. But it was, you know, some of these things were pretty awful about popping, like probably about a year ago. So, but yeah, everything seems seamless now. But
okay.
But yeah, I can play on my, I can launch any game on my phone or on here without the controller because I have my Xbox controller attached all the time.
Yep.
But it still doesn't pick it up on the web browser. It says you need to connect to the controller. It's like it's in there.
It's exactly what I've just experienced.
As soon as I pick up the controller, it works. It just doesn't recognize it for some reason.
Yep. So exactly that. I have just gone on to Night in the Woods. I've clicked play, and it comes up. Something's not right. Disconnected or idle. It's like, no, I can see it's plugged in and it's on. It is just connected all the time. But on here it does allow me to continue. So I shall have a look at that. But further to that, is there anywhere for me to look more into these quests, right? Because Fallout 4 just said play Fallout 4. And it may be that was all you had to do. You just had to launch the game, and it picked it up and went, yes. And it's just that it hasn't quite.
Yeah, the lower ones where it just says play this or embark on the journey or something like that. Usually like 25 points. It's just like, I just have to start the game.
Yes. Yeah.
But Reddit, Microsoft Rewards, Reddit community. Extremely helpful.
Nice, good, okay.
With some things, it's just like, even with some things, it's like, should I bother with this? I just look at Reddit and it's like, this is more than one step long, and it's like, nah, I'm not going to bother.
Yeah.
But some of them are just like, they tell you exactly what to do.
Should I get 7 kills on the Evil Within? No, probably not.
It's an awful game.
Because you get about 12 hours into that before you've killed anything.
Yeah. I did that, and it was like, I knew people said this was slow and sluggish, but God, that game is awful. So basically, because the good thing about it is that a lot of these quests reoccur, so it's like I've seen the Evil Within one more than once. That's probably about the third time it's come on, and so like this time round, I'd already got to that point. I already have a save. I just launched it on my browser. I think I was watching something and stuff like that. I was just right in a place where it's like, okay, I can just easily, I've got enough bullets, I can just easily pop 7 of these MFers and then just close it and pretend, just hop in the shower immediately and scrub all the dirt off me because that game is awful. That game is terrible. It controls so badly.
It does, yeah.
This guy who's meant to be like a super cop can like run for like 3 seconds and then just wheeze and like he's having an asthma attack, and it's like
Maybe he is.
every 5 seconds he would have died from natural causes and not the weird flesh monsters running after him.
I mean, as soon as he was found, strung upside down in that kind of opening bit, and there's this ginormous beast of a man that's butchering a body.
I died about 5 times before I knew what to do. I was just like, oh, there's this key glinting.
Oh, mate, that was a fucking pain. I followed him into the back room, dead. I tried to hide somewhere else, dead. And then suddenly I'm like, oh, there's keys there. Oh, okay. Yeah, awful. Poorly signposted game, yes, whose character would, probably have puked instantly and be very dead very quickly.
Yeah. And I've seen a full playthrough of that game. It seemed charming when I was watching it, but thank God I wasn't playing it, because just what a bad controlling game. That was definitely early Xbox One, PS4 kind of era, where it's like, we don't know what we're doing. You don't have any other games to play. Play this.
I mean, it doesn't make me.
It being bad.
It doesn't make me feel hopeful for Ghostwire Tokyo, which has been delayed into next year. Was it even coming out this year? Who knows? It was always a next year game, wasn't it? They just decided that they were pretending it was delayed to next year. But yeah, it doesn't make me hopeful for that.
And I think that is also coming to other things as well.
I think it's a PlayStation console exclusive, but it probably coming to PC as well. Like Deathloop
It might even come to. I think it's coming to Xbox.
It may do like 6 months afterwards or something like that.
Yeah. Something. Yeah, that looked interesting. See, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, remember Deathloop, or did that get delayed again till next year?
No, that's definitely. I mean, it might not definitely be, but it is currently September, I believe.
September 2022 on Game Pass. Gotcha. I could pay £70 for it.
Exactly. Oh, Jesus Christ. Don't do that. Don't pay £70 for games. Good. That's probably a good place for us to finish. You've done me a good service this evening, Lucy, pointing me towards that.
And if in doubt, Reddit.
Yeah,
I only go on Reddit for two things: the
Reddit.
Microsoft Rewards and to see how much people hated the New York crossword that day. So those are the only two things I go to.
Is there a Reddit dedicated just to that?
Yeah, you can vote on if you like the crossword that day. Sometimes I'm just like, I just want to see the results, see what other people thought, but then sometimes I'm just like, this is poor. So too many American references.
I assume it's all American spelling as well.
Yeah, like odor. Oh, for God's sake.
Colour.
I've actually gotten pretty good at that, knowing that these Yanks only, they can't spell. But it's just,
it's like, I don't know, miss out that letter. Doesn't seem like there's any use to it. Just get rid of it.
Yeah.
Use.
That will always trip you up.
Use, usually. They get rid of all of the U's.
They get rid of all the U's, and they don't have double L's in when they're having the gerund. Ing. And having, like, dialing. You put one L.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that.
And they love their baseball. They put too many baseball clips. It's like nobody watches baseball, not even Americans themselves. And it's like... Yeah.
Just put...
I need Steve Kerr today.
Does Babe Ruth fit? No. Pass.
Yeah, it's just like, well, done.
Yep.
Some of the basketball ones. Steve Kerr today. So.
Nice. Good.
Probably because I watched The Last Dance or whatever.
No, that's such a good documentary. That's fantastic.
It is definitely good.
Yeah.
Not enough Space Jam in it, though. So, 2 out of 10.
Well, they only spent 5 minutes on Space Jam and they moved on quite quickly.
Oh, as a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, you can play that Space Jam game, which I played the whole of. And
oh.
It's about 40 minutes long, and it's somewhere between below Battletoads, that Battletoads game came out last year.
Oh
Yeah,
dear.
it was a free thing, and it's just like seemed like, yeah, if you're gonna make a tie-in game, why not make it a side-scrolling brawler? You know,
Yeah,
why
I
not?
mean, fair enough. I'll wait for there to be a quest for it, where it says like kill
Yeah.
400 baddies, and actually there's only 12
Yeah.
baddies in a run, and you have to just
Mm.
play it multiple
Mhm.
times to get
I've
that.
basically seen the whole film now. It's
No need
no
to go to
Tiny
the
Toon
cinema.
Adventures.
Well,
No,
yeah.
no Tiny Toon Adventures.
Good.
Nice.
What a good place for us to finish this week as we've moved into the realm of movies. Lucy, the Deya. Did you enjoy it? Is it a beer you'll drink
Yeah,
again? Yeah.
it's good. Yeah, well, I'm gonna have to because there's another one in the fridge. We don't waste beer in this house.
No.
That is a sin. So yeah, it's really good. I'm trying to think where this sits in the pantheon of Deya beers. It's in there. It's maybe top half. I don't know. Had so many. But yeah, it tastes like a lot of their other output nowadays. They are going into like those more subtle flavors. They're not always making those massive juice bombs that we had a few years ago.
Yeah.
Bit more refined these days. But yeah, really smooth, really easy to drink. It's like that feels like a session beer. Just how easy it is, even if it is 6.2%. You do get a bit more of that sweetness, a bit more of that, the slight warming alcohol burn. But just in terms of like how easy it can go back, that could easily be a session beer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
really good.
Good. I mean, I have had 2 session beers essentially this evening. Both were really good. I like both for very different reasons. Aromatic Isles, the Wiper and True Bristol Craft Beer Festival beer was lovely. Lovely flavours. Did something different. Was a fantastic kind of lead into an evening or a drinking kind of session. And I can see this being something that everyone would go, this is amazing. Just in terms of the level of flavour that they packed into this. But I think the Tulus kind of just picks it for me. Tulus in Wonderland from Arbor.
Okay.
It's just solid. Like very easy to drink. Lovely, sort of light, delicate kind of flavours. Really, really sessionable. I could easily have just rolled straight through into this. It isn't too fruity, it isn't too sweet, it isn't too bitter, it isn't anything massive. It's just very light, very easy, while still giving a nutty, piney flavour, which I actually quite like. More than I probably think I do after having this, and kind of the way it's impacted kind of my thoughts this evening. So yeah, I think the Tulus would be an easy pick for me. And again, it picked up round the corner at the newsagents.
Yeah.
I had the Galazaka again a couple of nights ago from Arbor, and I don't think I drank it on an episode. I think I had it a few months ago when it first released and was a little bit disappointed with it, but actually having it again, another reasonably good, solid, sessionable kind of beer, not doing anything massive. I think Arbor have found their space of making these nicely balanced, not single kind of note beers. Again, something we've talked about with Arbor. They absolutely come out and say, here's a couple of flavors. That's it. That's what you're going to get solidly throughout this beer. Have a pint of it, and everyone goes, yeah, great, perfect, 5%. Smash it back. Have another one. Yeah, fantastic that this is kind of just around the corner again. And now I've had it, will probably be on my weekend little pickup. So
Nice.
yeah.
I probably feel the same way about the Aromatic Isles because it was something that's like I've never had a beer that tastes like this before.
Yes.
But it still tasted like a beer because a lot of the times it's like, okay, having these weird and wonderful experiments, but they kind of stray from like what I'd probably enjoy in a beer. But the Aromatic Isles did that as well. It's like, this is a very good beer first and foremost, and it's something different. But even so, it's just like, can't mess with the classics, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, you know, having a standard Arbor, it's like 9 times out of 10, you're gonna get something good.
Absolutely.
Always wonderful. It's like even like the you know, the Cafe Creme, which is the only Arbor in like main big stores. It's just like, yeah, I'll have that. Why not?
Yeah.
It's a good Arbor. It's Arbor beer. It's good. Yeah.
Nice.
Why milk a moo cow? That's the one I always go to as well.
Why kick a moo cow?
Not milk. Why would you milk a moo cow? Why would you kick one either?
Well, I get doing.
I'd rather milk one.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Bristol is more known for kind of like scrumping than cow tipping, isn't it? So maybe they're just not quite there. Yes, good, good. So they have been they have been the beers, they have been the games that we have played this week. If you want to get in touch with us and let us know what you've been playing, what you've been drinking, you can do so at TankedUpCast on Twitter. You can get me at Nova_47 almost everywhere. Lucy is JuicyLoose9. Pretty much.
JuicyLoose9 is going to start Axiom Verge today and just have a switch fall on her face as she falls asleep playing it. And probably have to restart it tomorrow because she won't remember any of it.
You get 4 hours in, it's just a bomb.
4 minutes. I'm knackered. I'm going to bed.
It's that time of day.
I won't even click buy. I won't even add it to my cart on Switch or fall asleep. So.
It looks a lot brighter. Looks a lot brighter than the last game. It's almost like Sonic to Sonic 2 in terms of its like level of kind of brightness almost.
I'm interested to see what that's like. I'm going to take a punt on it and just buy it and not look into it anymore.
Yeah, that's fair. Absolutely. And you exactly, you enjoy the first game, so you'll probably like this one.
Metroidvania. So
yeah.
I need one. It's like just stick it in.
Good. If you want to support us, subscribe wherever you are, whether that's on Twitch or YouTube or on your podcast service of choice. Tell a friend, get them involved in the conversation. Come and join us in our Discord as well, and we can ping you links to that on all of our socials, or go to outoflives.net to look at other articles, other shows and things that we do. We're very light on Twitch during the summer. Adults in Canada, I'm just working my ass off currently, so
I barely know how to use a computer, so you won't find me on there.
So Twitch is a little light on its gameplay content, but we're here each and every week, and I believe next week, join us. We're going to be back on Tuesday, our regular sort of session, and we're going to have returning guest Callum, I believe, next week. Join us for some chats.
I've not recorded with you, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, nice. Good, perfect. That's us. That is everything, I think. We have been Tanked Up. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye. We miss you, Adele.
Always.
www.outoflives.net